Welcome back to the Winner Circle. I'm Derek.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Cody.
And we're here, back, episode number 3. If you haven't already watched episode 1 and 2 of the Traitors series, you definitely want to do that so you're all caught up. We're not going to spend much time here. Anything to cover before we dive right into it? This is going to be a quick blast, a little bit behind the scenes of what happened without going too deep, to kind of get some insight from the traitor himself.
That's right.
About what happened on this episode.
Yeah. So episode starts off, right? And we see that ultimately the traitors, Sari, Christian, and myself, we decide to go with Bam. The funniest thing about this whole situation is again, the one knock that I do have on the show is that and tell me if you guys feel this way, they don't show too many personal relationships. It's just all game, right? It's strictly game. And so I wish there was a little more context as to why Christian was so gutted about Bam. Because Christian and Bam were definitely close. And Bam was just a really likable guy. And Christian, I feel like Christian would hear this, and it's not personal, but it's like he knows his personality. He's just an outgoing. He's high energy, talks a lot.
A little annoying, I'll say it.
And can get on your nerves. Can get on your nerves. But like I said it to him when we were there. I was like, no, bro, you're actually like getting on my nerves a little bit. He's like, no, good, but just play that up. Like he's
Can I say something about Christian real quick?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like hindsight. Like it's always easy. Like you see it on Big Brother too, right? Like people are like, oh, I would have pegged that person right away. Like sitting at home, I found his antics, his like acting horrible. Like I was the way he would come in and always just be like goofy. I'd be like, he's a traitor. I'm like, this guy's he's not happy all the time.
And he starts funny every sentence with "I'm a faithful," and as a faithful,
and as a faithful, they all do that though. We can get into that too. It's funny. I die. Take a drink every time someone on the episode of Traitors says, "Well, as a faithful." Yeah, because Sari does it a lot too. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but there's definitely moments where eventually it comes up where people start to question Christian, but even watching it now, like he just comes in, he's always like wide-eyed and he's like doesn't know what's going on. He's like completely ignorant to the fact that he's playing this game, and that like either he's that stupid or he's playing it up. And I would always assume he can't be that stupid.
And he's
playing
not.
it up for the cameras.
This kid Christian is a very intelligent person.
It seems it.
And right, and so that's what
people
made
are just
me
not good liars. Like I think you can always tell when I'm lying about something because I'm terrible at it. So if I've got a fake, like I'm not doing something that I know I'm doing, I'm probably being really extra about trying to convince you that I'm not.
And that's
Christian. That's Christian.
I feel like that was a part of me too. Like I feel like I just am
we gonna get into you, but we on episode 3. We gonna get into you, and I can't wait. That's what I'm here for.
But anyway, so Christian is going through this big dilemma. The funniest part about it is that when we're in the round turret, they showed a little bit, but it was like Christian who like started the conversation about Bam. And I remember being there and saying to Sari, I'm like, why is this guy acting like this was all so brutal? He can't believe he's doing this. It was his idea. Like,
wait, it was his idea in the room that you guys went with?
Yeah, they didn't edit it like that.
It didn't show like that.
And maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong.
He's like, Bam's a possibility. Yeah, it's my bro. I would hate to do that.
He did. And then when it seemed like he was definitely an option, he seemed to take it really hard, which it was surprising to me because I don't know that they have this close relationship because they don't show it. So when I saw him kind of get emotional about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of messed up. But I did not even know that Bam was around. I also think that they didn't do quite a good job of building the character of people who are non-reality TV, just like the regulars. I barely noticed them, and I can barely remember their names. And sometimes they flash across the screen, and I'm like, who is that? And it's not because I know the reality TV people. I really only watch Big Brother. I swear, and people are gonna judge me for this. I only knew you and Rachel. Mm-hmm. I did not know Reza. Unfortunately, I don't watch Survivor. I just really started watching. I didn't know Sari or Stephanie. I knew who Brandy was. I knew Brandy, but I don't know a lot.
But she was
about
also on Big Brother.
Yeah, Big Brother. I don't know a lot. I didn't even know Ryan, but that's Celebrity BB. I didn't recognize him
from the Olympics, though.
Okay, don't judge me. This is a safe space. This is a judgment-free zone.
He's had a couple shows too. He's had other shows too.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't watch TV. Hey, I'm done. It's your turn, Cardi.
No.
It's your turn.
No,
No,
Cody,
it's
you're right
completely
though.
understandable though. It's like, and a lot of these people came from like the Bravo world. So if you're not watching Bravo,
Yeah.
I don't
If
watch
you ain't
Bravo.
watching it, yeah.
and if you don't watch other, like, I don't watch Survivor either. So I had no idea Stephanie and Suri. Like, I was like,
I'm lame, so y'all can call me lame. I'm lame.
You're
I don't
definitely
watch.
No, I mean, listen, if you're not watching TV, that just means you're working. It means you're too
I'm
busy to be
always
watching.
working.
That's right.
So that's not a bad thing. I agree with you, Cody, that they didn't show the depths of some of the relationships, including like you with Quentin, because you told me you and him were close,
Yeah.
and you never saw that on the show. But I do think that's the trade-off with like one of the biggest knocks I have on Big Brother, which is like it's 40-something episodes or whatever it is. It's a crazy amount of episodes, but a lot of them is just fluff. But
Yeah.
it does give context to the different dynamics, the different relationships in the house, so that when something big does happen, you understand the impact it has on certain people. Where with Traitors, it's run and gun. It's quick. It's like there's no time for it because they're trying to cover a whole season of how many people did it start with? 16? 20 people.
20.
And all of them, but a couple got to go by episode 10. So it's a lot to cram in there, and so they don't have time to get in. They don't have time to get into those relationships, which does hurt it. But I will tell you, if you gave me a choice, I would choose this format over 45, 50 episodes of just getting to the fun stuff. I'd be like, I'll figure it out. I'll take their word for it that they were close.
Yeah. What about Tiff? What about you? Would you take how it is right now, or do you want more of that like human aspect relationships? Do you think that would?
Well, I would like them to bring it closer. It doesn't have to be as stretched out as it is with BB.
Yeah.
But like I said, a lot of the character building isn't there. So I am not unfortunately, I wasn't emotional about Bam leaving because I didn't even get to see much of him, so it didn't matter to me that he left, and I didn't really understand the closeness that Christian had for him because I didn't see it, but I did understand. I was empathizing with him about losing somebody because I take his word for it that they were close, that was his person.
Yeah, they were definitely close, and you don't really get to see a lot of that, and it almost like it. I feel like that would like humanize people a little bit and like understand like these traitors are going through it. Like it was written on my face. Suri and Christian did a better job with their poker face. I mean, I guess according to me, with like I was falling apart. They didn't seem to be falling apart. Their acting may or may not have been the greatest, but it's definitely tough when you're in there and you're trying to, react. So again, the morning comes and now Christian he gets to play into the whole, wow, that's my boy. Like, I can't believe they did that, which actually was genuine. Like, it was almost like the thought of, wow, it was almost, instead of I can't believe they did that, it was like, I can't believe I did that and we did that. Man, this is horrible. And so I thought it like almost benefited him in a way because it was genuine.
Because he could have genuine,
Right. Like almost, well, we'll get into it next episode. But yeah, so then we have that. And then the craziest thing is this is just how it goes. We cut from that to Alan comes down, we're heading out for the challenge. And it's like, it's crazy how fast paced it is because like you can't even mourn. And there's not even, we're like trying to talk and like, why would people do this? And then all of a sudden it's like, Alan's here. It's like, oh, we're leaving. We're going to a competition.
He did say that. He said, okay, you've mourned long enough. Let's go.
Yeah.
Why did you decide on Bam? Because we don't get that depth. What was the ultimate decision maker where you guys said in that room, which didn't make the show, like, Bam's the guy. He's got to go. Even though Christian, you're close with him. Sorry.
Yeah. So ultimately it was because Christian was okay with it. Like if Christian at that point would have said no. So like it was crazy because I was like always back and forth with Christian. There were moments where I just was like really enjoying being around him. And then there was moments where it was just too much, which it's just not personal. It's like when you're in the Big Brother house and there's people that you really like, but then you're like, I love you, but you're pissing me off right now. And that's kind of like
it's not like being at home. You're actually playing a game, so your brain is like constantly thinking, and you need a space to be able to organize your thoughts. And if you've got somebody bouncing around you, it's fun when we're at home and I'm thinking about nothing. But when I am taking care of business and I actually need to organize my thoughts so I can strategize, you're interrupting that process. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And so it was like Christian was just kind of, he was somebody that I would really like because he was brilliant. He's so intelligent. And a lot of his ideas, I was like, oh man, that's good. This kid gets it. But then the other stuff would make me be like, dude, he's like, I don't know how I can deal with this on a regular basis. We're supposed to be on the same team. But we go out for the challenge. And this challenge was actually a blast. This was probably, of the ones that I competed in, one of my favorites because it was different.
This was the music. This was the notes pulling the strings.
Yeah. So they give us this book. We open the book up and we're all freaking out when we're there. We're like, it's like Ryan, Rachel, Kyle, Shelby, myself, Stephanie, and I think that was it. And we're all like, we're not music. Like, I don't know how to read music. So we didn't know what to expect. And then we open this book and it's just like kind of following the numbers. And then we're over there pulling. And at first it seemed like we were going to be horrible. We could not get we were like, I don't even know this song that we're playing. I hope they understand it. And then we kind of like steamrolled it. And we all kind of got in a rhythm. And I think it was after Shelby got up there and kind of went through it. Shelby went through the ringer on like the first go around. And then we all figured out, we're like, okay, it's like when the person goes first, you learn what to do and what not to do. And then we all kind of did well with it. And we had Rachel going nuts. Like there were points where Rachel wouldn't even let us keep playing.
On fire. Yeah,
Rachel was like, I need to sing the song and finish it before we start playing again. And I remember being there and being like, Rach, like, come on, let's just go. Let's just get this going again. We respect you that you get the song, but we need to play it for them who have to hear it. They don't hear you singing. And so it was just funny because like, dude, Rach is just like, she competes. It doesn't matter what it is. She's high. I think she gets this from Amazing Race.
On the other side. I'm sorry.
Beelining. Right? Sari was killing it on the other side.
Yes. Every note that you guys are hitting, she's like, oh, I know that song. What was killing me was like not her knowing the songs, but knowing the names of the song. I was like, girl, how do you know the names of these songs?
Did you know
knowing
any of them?
Names.
I knew not one song. I knew the melodies.
Once I was getting the beat, like, a couple of melodies, names of them, absolutely not.
What? Like when she yelled out the name in Jets, I was like,
yes.
How do you know that? Like when they would read the sound.
How do you even study for that?
You don't. I feel like that's just something you got. And Andy is a producer. So Andy was picking up on some of the melodies and doing really well in the competition too. So
sometimes you guys were doing a terrible job and they still were like, oh, I know that song. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, when the song was coming through the TV, I was like, I still wouldn't know that song.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Not only know the song, but then find like an item associated with that song. It's not enough to just know it. They had to find like the horse or the, what was it? That's that competition, right? Am I giving the right one?
Yes.
They had to go around the house.
That I could do. Once you tell me the song, like once I get the melody, then I can go and find it.
They find the music box.
Yeah. Bring it to Alan.
It was good. It was a good competition. It's fun. I will say, and this is going to be a common theme because I've said it to Cody. I've watched the whole season, full disclosure. That's why I like the show. The fact that I was able to watch it and it kept me entertained was great. But one thing I would say about all of these competitions is it really doesn't expose anyone. It doesn't bring anyone to the forefront. It just is kind of happening.
Yeah.
And I know that we have some producers and stuff that may be watching this and stuff. And it's like, the one thing I would say is add something that makes the competitions more important. Because honestly, I would substitute those comps for just more strategy and conversations between the house guests and be more entertained to see how people are kind of planning things.
Yeah.
Because we did get a little bit of that. Because the games themselves, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, one team's going to win, one team isn't. They're just trying to build up this pot. But even if the first team beats the second team still gets some money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there was nothing that
What's the
made
incentive for them?
There's no incentive on the Traitors to like everybody was like, oh, you got to watch people, right? That was my favorite thing. It's like, I'm going to watch to see how people do, to see if they're Traitors. I'm like, that shouldn't even be a thought in your brain.
Prize.
Yes,
like, why is that a thought in your brain? You're going to stare at people. How about you compete? Don't worry about anybody else. And the money's going in the pot anyway. It didn't make any sense to me why.
If anything, the Traitors were going to try harder.
Yeah.
Because you guys are trying to get the money too. So I didn't see how the games played into giving, because you'll see sometimes in Survivor where you'll have like a saboteur, or even in Big Brother, where there might be something during the comps that if you're really paying attention, you can pick someone out. There's nothing in those games that would give anyone an advantage or a disadvantage. It kind of is something added to make to get to the amount of money. I'd rather just say, hey, there's 250,000 at the end. You're already there. We're gonna have some comps and stuff for different things, but those comps should be designed
deduct
to
money from the pot, maybe
something like that, or just expose people. Like there's an opportunity for smart players to pick up on verbal and nonverbal cues to maybe identify a traitor.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I see would be.
Yeah, there is
more
no
fun.
way to identify who's a traitor during the competition because everybody has and shares the same common goal, which is to add more money to the pot. Even when it's two teams competing against each other, I'm like, I really don't get the point of that, because even if one team gets all the money in the pot and the other team doesn't, the other team still gets access to that money at the end.
To that money at the end.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to, like, you know, where this happens in sometimes it happens in Big Brother. It's like our nominations are based off early on, at least, you know, who didn't do well in the competition.
Oh, yeah,
so maybe it was trying to create drama through that. But I don't think it caught like how it does catch on Big Brother, where it's like that first competition.
You want to get rid of the
crucial.
weak players to build up the pot. Yeah, that makes sense.
Where it wasn't like,
it doesn't work.
And it's like, so you want to get rid of the weak players to build up the pot, but it's like, what if none of the traitors are a weak player? You don't want to go based off that.
Because that's not the point. I mean? The point isn't to get rid of weak people. The point is to get rid of the traitors. And so if we just keep getting rid of weak people and they are faithful, then we're ruining ourselves. Like we're losing here.
So it's not a bad thing. It's still fun to watch.
Oh yeah. We're just critiquing it. And like I could say, like, there's stuff
like all these shows.
The show is still amazing. We're hooked.
The show is great.
It's so good. It's just finding. It's like we're used to this aspect, so I feel like we view it in the lens of what we've seen, and nobody's ever seen Traitors before. It's a new.
I would like to see the winning team, or more specifically, make the competitions individuals things like the challenge, where the winner gets some type of advantage. Like, there's an advantage that comes in later in the game. We'll get to that.
We'll talk about
that. To me,
like maybe they get a clue or something.
That to me, it incentivizes them to do better. And maybe you have an adverse side where the traitors don't want their team to win, because that would allow them to. They want to win the competition because they don't want someone else to get that clue about them.
For those of you that are watching that have made it to this point, 1, we appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and share if you're enjoying this. And 2, we're going to be releasing these periodically. So you're seeing episode 3 right now. 4, 5 are going to be coming out, and then 6, 7, 8 are going to be coming out the following week. So we'll be covering them like that, but it's going to be shorter. We want to get these out we want to strike while the iron's hot, and a lot of people are watching Traitors.
Thank you for the comments on that. We decided to go with you guys at least 2 per week. So thank you.
And if you can, in the comments, please try not to spoil it for the people who haven't finished watching this season. I think somebody ruined it for me, and that's okay. I'm going to pretend like I didn't see it, and maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw, but I don't even know who won, and I don't want to know who won. But just try not to spoil it, because we're trying not to spoil it for you too.
Because there's those of us that binge it in the weekend, because it is a very bingeable show.
Bro, I binged it that night.
Yes, it is.
It's a very bingeable. Like here's what I think about this. I don't think you can watch just one episode. I don't like. I think
you want to know what happens next. They definitely leave you on the edge. Like what happens next. If I could have stayed up past 3:00 last night, I would have kept going. But I had to get up today. But that's why I look puffy. You know.
No, you look great.
Here we go.
Oh, thank you. You know, I really want to say, even in like episode 3, where everybody's so focused on Kate and Michael and Brandy, I am really surprised that your name is not coming up. And I as I'm watching, I'm seeing that it benefits people to remain quiet, because it's almost as if anything you say can and will be used against you at the round table. So I don't know that I do well because I talk too much. So as a traitor or a faithful, because I'm seeing in the traitor strategy, there is no real concrete strategy as to why somebody is getting killed tonight. It's just the temperature of what everybody is thinking, and you trying to throw the scent off as to why somebody is dying. Somebody can die just because they're not saying anything at the round table, or because they stick up for something at the round table, or just because they're being messy and you guys feel like I need you to leave. So it's, you know.
I think I never answered your question really, because you asked me about what made us come to the conclusion of BAM. And I kind of went off on a tangent.
That was yesterday.
Yeah. But what happened was that we ultimately started to decide as a group that we don't want people left in this house who everybody's going to look at and go, definitely not a traitor. Yeah. So it was like BAM was really, really likable. Everybody was like, I trust what BAM does, and we want to remove them. You're welcome. That was my idea. It's not a big deal or anything. I was like, we got to remove these people. We got to remove these people from the house that everybody's never going to question, because ultimately that eliminates them as a traitor, which moves them a step closer to us. So we need to get rid of those people. And like they were, that's why it was funny, because there was multiple people that we could have went with at that situation, but it was like Christian was like someone like Bam. And like Cirie, I think they showed Cirie mentioning Bam, but if I remember it correctly, I remember being there and being like, if he's so gutted about it, why did he bring him up in the first place? Like, I remember thinking that there.
I think it seemed like he was using him as an example of who
like
people are not like looking at. And then it's almost, so then that's bad too. Like, if you're too trustworthy, you got to die. Well, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless, well, certain people that wasn't the case, but we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. I was telling Cody off camera, I think it was yesterday, because I'm watching the show and I always find myself like, how would I play it? And it does seem like, to kind of give an analogy to Big Brother, it's kind of like for the floaters. You want to be someone, like you said, Tiffany, where you're not in any of the drama. You're just kind of there and people forget about you, because the minute you go on someone's radar, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself. There's no immunity idol. There's no challenge to win. There's no HOH. You're at the mercy of not only the what's it called again? The Fs, what are they called? The faithful, but also the traitors. Either one of them can take you out. Yeah. Which brings us to the round table, because this round table.
What a segue, crazy. Bro.
Damn. I saw the 20-minute mark. I was like, segue time.
Yeah. So now we get to the round table, and this is where it kind of erupts. Where the craziest thing was, after the day before, after the competition, I was with Brandy and Kyle, and they were mentioning Cirie and Christian's name. And so those names were coming up, and that's when I mentioned it to Cirie, and I explained why I only mentioned it to Cirie, because I was like, Christian, maybe he gets clipped sometime. I kind of really want to protect Cirie. And so Brandy, like, it seemed like at the round table, a lot of people were directed at Kate, a lot of people were directed at Michael. And it was like Brandy put herself in the mix.
Yep.
And I was sitting there,
like, by saying something.
Yes. Which makes anybody be like, I'm shutting up. Like, I'm not saying a word. And Brandy almost put her foot in her mouth, and it made things get directed, because, again, like, Michael was struggling, and anybody like that was the hardest thing for me, is I was like, all right, I think it's pushing towards Michael, so I'm going to vote Michael. But it's like, you see him struggling and knowing that he's a faithful. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, you're knowing that he's
I'm knowing that he's a faithful. And even the viewers, I feel like as a viewer, you're watching Michael be attacked, and you're like, this is a little much, because
since episode 1, though, almost.
Right. And so it's hard to watch that as a viewer. It was hard to sit there as a traitor. And it seemed like that round table was going to go towards Kate or towards Michael, which, again, as traitors are like, good, perfect. But then Brandy kind of steps in and is like going nuts. And she starts pointing out a lot of people too. This is a round table that she actually goes around the entire table. She goes, I think you're a traitor. I think you're a traitor. I think you're a faithful. I don't know about you. I think you're a faithful. It was epic. I was like, oh my God, that's got to be in there. They didn't show that. But like, Brandy was bringing a lot of heat her way. And in that, I think you're a traitor, she pointed right at Christian too. So it was a lot. So her going, like, ultimately we get to the end of the round table.
Kate were on to Christian even before that round table. Kate was like, I don't trust you. That's when you guys were sitting in that room, and he came and sat next to her, and she's like, yeah, you're next. I don't trust you.
Yeah. And that's where it was early in the game. So I'm still like wide-eyed, like, oh, traitors. Like, this is my team, protect the traitors. And I'm still sitting there being like, I don't know about Christian. I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I was doing a lot of backpedaling with Christian, but then getting to the DR and being like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Like, I don't know how much longer I can go about this, because it's like, he's doing too much. He's making me stressed out. There's people that I really like that I think I could build a better relationship if I decide, let's go after him and we're right. That almost like gives you a period of just exoneration.
And it just, feel that like your big brother, like in Big Brother, we just do have this thing called alliances that we're true to, that we hold on to. Do you feel that because like that's a game that is, I don't know if it's just in us, and coming over here, even though you're not really in an alliance with the Traitors, you guys just all are Traitors. Do you feel that you were like trying to stay faithful to the Traitors because of that alliance background that we come from?
Totally.
Okay.
And I think that was part of my struggle, is that I didn't, like, I'm a team oriented guy. Like, I'm not an individual oriented person. I need my team. I need, like, it's like, okay, if something goes on, like, we're together. Hey, we went through that together. Now let's build each other up. Let's move forward, and we're going to grow from this. That's kind of my mentality. And so here it was like, I was trying to find that, and I put that in, blindly, it's the Traitors. It's the Traitors. That's who I'm going to be. That's who I'm going to be closest with. And really, as a traitor, the people that you need to be closest with are all the faithfuls.
That's right.
It's not the Traitors. It's not. And so that was also part of my struggle, because I was like, the closer I get to these faithfuls, the worse I'm feeling about myself. So let me kind of blanket the conversation, like normal convo, don't really say much. And like, the Traitors are who you're loyal to. And as you two know, you can't flip flop. You got to be set and you got to go direct. And if you flip flop, you leave yourself susceptible to saying something stupid that can bite you in the butt. You don't really have a team. If you're on both teams, you don't have a team. And so that was where I feel like it was struggling. It was a big struggle for me, because I never knew where my team was. I was like, this day I got very close with these faithfuls, so I feel like that's my team. Then I would have the turret night, and I'm like, no, this is my team. We just made a decision together. This is my team. And then the morning would come, and I'd be like, this sucks. Like, I was like, who is my team? It was a lot. And you have to be mentally strong and hold through that, no matter how much it weighs on you, or else everybody's looking for something. Everybody's like, why are you losing it? Like, why are you struggling so bad?
It's interesting you said what you said 2 seconds ago, but real quick to recap it, Brandy obviously goes home. You guys all know this. This isn't a recap show, so she goes home. People definitely had enough of her. Seems like there was a lot of conversation that wasn't shown on the show, and people were done with her. So she went home. There's a little segment at the end that doesn't hold a ton of weight going forward, but we'll still touch on it. It was Kate drops the note. But what you said there, being loyal to the faithfuls or getting in with the faithfuls is a key part of the game. And that's where we're going to end this episode, because going into next episode, which we're going to be recording right after this, so get ready for this one to drop too. It's a pivotal point in the show. And a lot of what happens with you specifically, Cody Calafiore, is based on your relationships that are being observed by other Traitors. So little teaser, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely catch episode 4 before you come watch our next one, because it's a bombshell episode. It's crazy. And you are going to want to hear from the man himself, because some shit went down.
I'm at the center.
I got some questions for him.
He's in the center for it. Guys, appreciate you joining us. Like Cody said early in the episode, like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, please leave a 5-star review and a comment below. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. As always, we appreciate you joining us here on the Winner Circle. We will see you in a couple days.